What it is, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. It's a wrap, aka Yudi here, and I'm back for my wrap up for the month of June. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into it. Okay. Hey everyone. So I'm not gonna waste any time. I don't have too many books that I read in the month of June. I have 5 books. This is 10. I have 5 books in total. 3 of them physical reads, 2 of them audiobooks. So let's start off with the audiobooks. So the first audiobook I have is Devout by Takerra Allen. And I've really been in a Takerra Allen binge since I read Last Stop from Innocence, and I decided to listen to Devout because I was kind of on the fence, and from the description and 2 of the audio narrators, I was like, oh, it seems like it will be a good time because of the narrators. And the narrators did do a lot for me to enjoy this. So Devout follows Nika, who just started college and she's studying to be, I believe it was a veterinarian, but she's like new to like Newark. She's from Jersey, but she's from like a more suburb part of Jersey. And she's out at a party with her cousin. I think her cousin's name is Bryan. And she meets D-Rock, aka Denny, who is like the local drug dealing star. Like he like runs Newark, and there's instant attraction. They're instantly, maybe not instant. For D-Rock, he's like instantly attracted to Nika, and he like has to be in a relationship with her. And the book goes between the present, where they're already together and they have a child together and they've been together for like 5 years, and the past of how they come to know each other and the dynamics of their relationship. And man, all I will say is that there, like any Takerra Allen story, there is a twist at the end. There is an unexpected like dynamic to the, or there's an unexpected thing about a character that you're revealed with at the end that kind of rethinks the way that you engage with the story. What's the best way to say this? Unreliable narrator. She's really good at manipulating, not manipulating, but like using unreliable narrator and us not completely like in the know of what exactly a character is going through. But anyway, this story is no different. But I will say that out of the 3 Takerra Allen stories that I've read so far, this one is probably my least favorite. One, because I'm just not a fan of insta love. That's it. I don't like insta love. I love a good slow burn. I love when characters don't initially like love and like are seriously like infatuated with one another when they first meet. Insta love is like one of my least favorite tropes. That's one. Number 2, I don't like age gaps. And the only age gap story that I can say that I really like is The Perfect Fine by Tia Williams, because of how, one, because of the chemistry between the 2 characters, but also how she navigates like the serious age gap that they have, and how like we're not living oblivious to like what the characters are going through at that point in their life at that age, and how hard it is to kind of mend those gaps in terms of what people want in like their aspirations at certain periods of their life. So that's number 2. So not saying that the age gap in this story is as serious as The Perfect Fine, but one is the age gap. And I feel like there's times I'm just all like, Denny's all like, oh, you're so mature, and then he at the second breath he's like, oh, you're so immature, and it feels very manipulative on top of the age gap, because you're just like, Denny, you know that you're with a new, like, baby girl just turned 19, like, as y'all met each other, and you haven't. And the thing that's more alarming is that there's this big age gap with insta love, and like it feels like grooming. It gave me the ick. Like Denny gave me the ick because of how there's this naivete to Nika's character, and Denny seems to like know it all, but in that it's like, okay, but you're about to be 30 in a couple years, and baby girl isn't even 20 yet. Like, she hasn't even experienced her 20s. So I didn't like it, and I couldn't root for them because of that, and it made it hard for me to really get through the book. And then when we learn what we learned about Denny, I'm just all like, I just didn't like them together. I didn't like them together. I wasn't rooting for them. It made it really hard for me to get into the book because of that. So yes, Devout is probably one of my least favorite of the Takerra Island books that I've read so far. So I'll let you know, because I have another one that I want to read on my list. So hopefully that one is a little bit more better of an experience than what I had with Devout. But I will say that the only thing that I really love Takerra Island, because she does write like urban fiction, but the storytelling is just so good in the way that like she navigates the twists and the turns. It doesn't, because sometimes urban fiction can kind of feel repetitive, and something about it feels fresh and kind of new. So yeah, that's all I say. I still love Takerra Island. Devout wasn't my favorite. Let's move on to the next audiobook. Okay, so the next audiobook I have is The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by, I believe it's Deesha, Philyaw. I'm sorry. I'll have, of course, as always, I'll have the picture up here of the title. I know it's Deesha. Yes, but this is a compilation of short stories, and they all have like a religious or some type of like church tie to the book. To the stories. And wow, I know everybody that has read this book has said this is like some of the best short stories that they've read, and it's always been kind of on my list to read The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. But I don't know what it was. Like, the audiobook, I think it was on Hoopla. I think I listened to it on Hoopla. Girl, I have so many audiobook apps. I be forgetting where I be listening to them. But I think I listened to it on Hoopla. And I saw it was available. So I was just like, let me go ahead and listen to it. And I had such a good time with the stories. And I'm not even a big like short story fan. I think I have Love and Color. I own Love and Color, and I still haven't read that yet because I don't know. I can't really get into short stories. I just need something more, There's only so much you can tell in so many pages. Yeah, but it's not even a lot of stories. I don't even think this book is like 200 pages. I think there's like maybe 6 or 7 individual short stories in it. I will say, out of all the short stories, my favorite was Preach Cobbler. Oh, that was such a good one. It was such a good one. If that one was like a full like novel, I would eat that ish up. Don't get misconstrued, because it's The Secret Lives of Church Ladies and you think it's going to be different stories about people who work in the church, and it's not that at all. And some of the stories are so, it's more than what you expect. That's all I'll say. And I'm not going to say too much, because every other review that I've seen of The Secret Lives of Church Ladies has really left a lot to be desired, and I'm going to do the same. I will say, if I think you could probably read this in a weekend, even if you're a slow reader, because it's not even 200 pages. It's really short. The stories are really good. Like, your speed through them. I think this is probably one of the best short stories that I've probably ever read. So yeah, I would highly recommend, as other people have, The Secret Lives of Church Ladies, if you have not already read it. And this is definitely a 5-star for me. I had a really good time with this book. Okay, and those are the 2 audiobooks that I listened to in the month of June. Let's get into the physical books that I read. First book I have is one that I got from the library. It is Family Meal, if y'all can see it. Family Meal by Bryan Washington. And this is a story that follows Cam. Cam has just lost his partner in the most like tragic way, and he's living in California, or LA to be specific. He's living in LA, and then he moves back to his hometown in Houston because since that tragedy, life is just kind of, he's lost, he's depressed, but also he doesn't really tell anybody. Like, he's grieving and struggling pretty much by himself. So he comes back to Houston, and he runs into his old friend who he also lived with after his parents died, TJ. And TJ, since since Cam has moved to LA and they've gone on their separate ways, has had his own trials and tribulations. So when they used to be the best of friends, but when they come back together, they're really like bumping heads and struggling because they both have gone through their own grief and disappointments and have expected each one of them to be present in ways that they had not been throughout the years. And this book was a little disappointing. As I'm giving the description, it has so much like goodness that just felt like was paced not the best. Because one thing I do love, I love a good story about friendship and about navigating life and friendship and like the changes that come with it. And this is definitely that story. And I love that it's like a Black queer perspective, but it feels very like human and real and honest. But I think it's just the pacing of the actual story. Like it starts off with a lot of promise, but by the like third act or by the near the end of the book, it kind of falls off the rails. I think once it leaves. No, because I think at the beginning it has three different perspectives. It has a perspective of Cam, the perspective of Cam's significant other who has passed and like his story before he passes. And then it goes through what exactly, like TJ and what has been happening with TJ since Cam and TJ have been apart. And then it ends on TJ's perspective. And I think at the beginning of TJ's perspective, I was really into it. And at the beginning of Cam's perspective, I was really into it. And once we get to like the end, like it doesn't seamlessly, these perspectives don't seamlessly tie together in terms of pacing. So by the end, I'm just it fell flat. And because of that, it's kind of disappointing. And while I had promise, I would probably give this book like a 3.5. But man, I would probably read something else by Bryan Washington. It's just this particular story. It had so many good, like juicy things in it. It just wasn't constructed and paced in a way that really like gave a good punch. So yes, that's all I have to say about Family Meal. Okay, the next book I have is one that I don't know what took me so long to read it, but I get the hype. And that's Homecoming by Yaa Gyasi. Editing Beauty here, apologizing in advance for saying Homecoming throughout this section of the review instead of Homegoing. Back to the video. Now I'm debating if I'm going to read Transcendent Kingdoms because I've heard people say that it's not as good as Homecoming. And for those that haven't read Homecoming is it's different like stories. Like it's not one consecutive narrator the whole entire book, but pretty much it follows sisters who are estranged, like they don't know that they're sisters, in Ghana during like the beginnings of the slave trade. So one sister, she ends up marrying to a European man who is working in part of the slave trade. And then the other sister gets sold off to slavery and she ends up in the United States. So it follows the lineage of both sisters from the inception of slavery to current times. And like this is one when it comes to like different perspectives and weaving that story together, and the pacing, like it's done so excellently, and it's so riveting. And yeah, this one is a good one. That's all I have to say. This one is a good one. I get why everybody was all like, girl, do people, I can imagine students having to read this, like if you're in a history class and you have to learn about the slave trade, or like if it's Black History Month. Like I can imagine like a teacher assigning Homegoing as a book to read. Like it's so seamlessly ties like the narrative of slavery and the different policies and the different industry. Like it's, baby, if you put some good historical essays like in conjunction with Homegoing, that's all I have to say. It's Homegoing 5 out of 5. I'm late, so you already know. Like if you haven't read this, you're late to the party, because I'm late to the party. You need to get into Homegoing. I had an excellent time with this book. It definitely like sat with me. I need to buy an actual copy. Okay, and then the last book that I have on my list that I read in June is Where Sleeping Girls Lie. Y'all, Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Faridah, Abike, Iyimide. And I actually have a review on my channel for this book. I collabed with Miss Malcolm Hughes. It's a very good video. We have a really in-depth conversation about this book, so I'm not going to be too long-winded about Where Sleeping Girls Lie in this video, but I'll link also that probably above. I'll probably link that up here for you all to click on and check out if you haven't already watched that review. And Where Sleeping Girl Lies, it follows the character Sade. Her father has just died. All her relatives or her immediate relatives have passed away. So now she's enrolling in a boarding school. And when she enrolls in the boarding school, her roommate, literally the first day that she meets her roommate and gives her a tour of the boarding school, goes missing. So now Sade is tasked with trying to figure out what happened to Elizabeth. And as we're figuring out what happens to Elizabeth, Sade starts to learn other dark secrets of the boarding school or the people that attend the boarding school. So yeah, I had a really good time with this book. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail. If you want to know more of what my thoughts were on this book, check out my review with Miss Malcolm Hughes. But I would say, if you want the consensus of what we thought, it's a good read. I wouldn't be in a rush to read it, but if you like Ace of Spades, I also think you will enjoy Where Sleeping Girls Lie. And isn't this such a baby? Faridah always be hidden with the covers. This is such a good cover, and she's such an amazing storyteller, and this book is no different. Okay, y'all, and that is all the books that I read for the month of June. Let me know what you all have read. But June overall, compared to May, was a good reading month. So I'm excited for the summer. Again, let's continue our conversation in the comments. Let me know what you all are reading. And until the next time, guys, deuces.